On the news tonight, Nigeria shifted from Vision 2022 to Agenda 2050. Ekiti House of Assembly elects new speaker after the death of the former speaker. Hundreds of people were displaced in Democratic Republic of Congo amidst ferocious fights. Good evening, welcome to the major report. Babatunde Bolatito is my name. The Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Ajia Zainab Ahmed, has said the federal government is currently finalizing Nigeria Agenda 2050 to succeed Vision 2020 with labbed 2 years ago. Ajia Ahmed, who stated this in Abuja at the 20th Nigerian Economic Summit, noted that the government had earlier formulated the National Development Plan 2021 to 2025 to succeed its economic recovery and growth plan 2017 to 2020. She said the financing of the NDP 2021 to 2025 will rely heavily on domestic resource mobilization from non-oil revenue sources through the results of the Strategic Revenue Growth Initiative and Finance Act. She said the collaboration between the Finance Ministry and the NESG has provided the platform for regular dialogue and engagement with the private sector and other stakeholders. The Director General of the Debt Management Office, Patient Oniha, has disclosed that the domestic debt profile of Nigeria now stands at 3.685 trillion naira. Mrs. Oniha made this known when she appeared before Ahmed Safana-led House of Representatives Committee on AIDS Loan and Debt Management to defend the 2023 budget. She explained that the domestic debt profile rose from 3.2 trillion naira in 2022 to 3.3 trillion naira in 2023 due to high interest rates from borrowed funds from domestic and international sources of funds. She enjoined members of the committee to look at the borrowing of funds by the federal government from a commercial perspective, saying that borrowing is a collective responsibility. The lawmaker observed that there is 1 trillion naira increase in debt profile of the nation in the last year, calling on the DMO to put a stop to the borrowings. Safana thereby directed the DMO to submit the relevant document indicating the sale of assets, payment made, and outstanding debt owed to the agency under the privatization policy. As Nigeria battles oil theft, the federal government and the Navy have commenced prosecution of the suspected criminal vessel, MT Heroic Idun, and crew handed over to the Nigerian authorities by the government of Equatorial Guinea. Addressing newsmen on the development, the Chief of Policy and Plans, Navy Headquarters, Rear Admiral Sheidu Garba, noted that the mischievous act by MT Heroic Idun was aimed at tarnishing the good image of the maritime domain in Nigeria. The briefing was jointly addressed by Navy representatives of the Defense Ministry, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and the Ministry of Justice. The Nigerian Navy therefore invoked the collaboration of neighboring Equatorial Guinea through the Yaoundé architecture to arrest the vessel, saying that the aid of the Nigerian Navy surveillance facility, MT Heroic Idun, was tracked, and the Equatorial Guinea amphibious ship, Captain David, was therefore vectored to intercept and arrest the fleeing ship. Speaker of Osun State House of Assembly, Honorable Timothy Oweye, has admonished authority of Osun State Police Command to redouble its efforts in the area of tackling insecurity in the state. Honorable Oweye gave the admonition while receiving in his office the newly posted Commissioner of Police, Mr. Laleye, who paid him a courtesy visit. The Speaker assured the Commissioner of the State Legislature's cooperation in his efforts to rid the state of crimes and criminalities. He also used the occasion to list some gray areas, particularly the incessant quality clashes in Ilesha axis. Speaker Oweye also informed the state police boss of series of support given to the security agencies by Governor Adeweyega Oyetola. Earlier in his remarks, the new Commissioner of Police in the state, Mr. Faleye Oladeye, promised to make Osun a sanctuary of peace and harmony through an effective police in order to provide adequate security for the generality of the people. The Pan-Yoruba socio-political organization, Afenifere, has called on the Southwest governments to turn the Western Nigerian security network, codenamed Operation Amotekun, into a strong regional outfit to protect the region from incessant attack by the kidnappers. Afenifere also urged governors to collectively approach President Muhammadu Buhari along with Vice President Yemi Osinbajo to let them save the life of people from being enslaved by bandits. In a statement by the Publicity Secretary of Afenifere, Comrade Jare Ajayi, the group said frequency and ferocity of kidnapping in the area these days were endangering so much concern on the territorial expansion of the terrorists. The statement stated that drones and relevant security equipment must be purchased and deployed to quickly snuff life out of the monster that is threatening to consume the people. Lawmakers in Ekiti State have elected former leader of the government business, Honorable Gboyega Aribisogan, as the new Speaker of the State Assembly. Aribisogan, who is from Ijesha Ishu in Ikole local government area, was sworn in at the plenary today by the Clerk of the House, Mr. Tolaison. The number one legislative seat became vacant following the demise of Speaker Fumini Afuye after suffering cardiac arrest. Afuye, who represented Ikere's constituency 1 at the Assembly, died on October 19 at the State University Teaching Hospital. He was interred last Friday in his country home, Ikere Ekiti. The Minister of Aviation, Ade Serika, stated that the federal government is going ahead with a national carrier despite the subsisting suit challenging the project. The minister revealed that aviation stakeholders and unions have had more than enough time to participate in the process rather than wait till the project reach a substantial point to engage in legal suits to stall the project. Mr. Serika revealed that they personally engaged indigenous carriers to participate in the project, including airpeace, which they turned down the invitation, stating that it was not formal in its approach. Serika spoke during a stakeholders appreciation forum for the reconstruction of the Lagos Airport runway 18L, said he does not see the opportunity of any court of competent jurisdiction erecting a roadblock to emergence of the national carrier. Nigerians have called on the federal government and other stakeholders to put in place policies to revitalize the agricultural sector. Those who spoke with OSBC News in separate interviews noted that the way at which the hunger is accelerating needs urgent action to be taken to avert more food crisis in Nigeria. Our reporter, Oluwatobiloba Odunuga, brings details.
Since early 2022, the United Nations World Food Programme and other international organizations have been warning that the number of people experiencing extreme hunger was accelerating at an unprecedented pace, which is coupled with the rising cost of food production and energy. The lingering economic impact of the pandemic and the ripple effects of conflict are pushing most vulnerable in rich and poor countries to the limit. Recently, there has been reports that the world could run out of food by 2023. Some parts of the country recently experienced flooding, which led to loss of lives, destruction of property, and swept away millions of hectares of farmlands. Experts have warned that the situation will push more into hunger by next year. Speaking with OSBC News on this development, respondents including Mr. Sonny Ajayi and Dr. Soji Akinpelu opined that the inability of farmers to farm as usual lies in the hands of the government and the citizen. Therefore, there is need for the government to encourage farming and provide stipends, which will serve as succor to farmers to produce more food. They enjoined the government at all levels to channel all its arsenals to food production and also put in policies that will benefit the agricultural sector.
What we need to do first and foremost is to do what we do in the States. Number one, subsidize farming. Make sure that the farmers are just growing. for the sake of growing. Then, the government can buy excess. Number two, provide silos, whereby people can preserve, those extras. And the silos can be at the local government levels, at the county levels. Number three, encourage farming.
This issue of food crisis is needed to be looked at very, very seriously. And the only way you can, solve this problem is encouraging farmers to be on their farms. For us to solve this problem, government has to, tackle this insecurity. They have to hold the bulls by the horns.
This, they say, would help Nigeria get out of food crisis and food insecurity. Oluwa Tobiloba, Odunuga, OSBC News.
Nigerian leaders have been admonished to make the country conducive for the followers so as to curb the massive migration of professionals out of the country. This was the views of some youth who spoke in separate interviews with OSBC News. Against the backdrop of the report that the country is losing our professionals in medical, information technology, banking, as well as other sectors to the developed countries. They noted that Nigeria is blessed with rich human and natural resources which should be harnessed for the betterment of all.
There are many opportunities in that place. Definitely, everybody will want to do the same because here in Nigeria, if you have the opportunity to do, that's what people are doing. And the government, well, what they can do about it, I don't think they really want. Of course, they know what they can do about it, but I don't think they are ready to do anything. So people are jackbarring if you have the opportunity.
The government is not even trying hard to provide an enabling environment for youth to thrive. You see someone that has a certificate, that has a skill, but does not have the enabling environment to actually function well. And when they say that there are greener pastures out there, and I think it's in the best interest of such youth to just do everything possible to just go to that greener pasture. And I think on the part of our government, they are really losing talent. You see all over the world, we have Nigerians scattered everywhere in major and key positions and places. So because the government, they are not providing facilities, enabling environments, what should we do? We should just leave and look for a greener pasture.
Some of the problem is due to the corruption in our country. You have the certificate, you have the skills, but before you can get the job, you need to bribe your way in. Even when you bribe your way in, the amount is not guaranteed. The economy is very bad. You can imagine you take some cash to the market, you do not be able to afford the things you buy. Your salary is not able to pay your bills. So I think that is the number one reason that most of our youth are traveling abroad, because there your skills will fetch you money. Anything you do there is money. So our government should try. They create more factories and they make sure that the economy is circulating.
We know they have good job already, but they still prefer to go there because of the opportunities. If you are doing slight, I won't call it dirty jobs, but I will just say maybe the jobs that won't fetch you enough income in this place. If you are doing the same job when you travel abroad, I think you get more than enough to sustain yourself. So I think the whole thing still revolves around the government. If they are able to provide better jobs for the youth, and then the value for money in Nigeria is an issue, because I think dollar now is around 690 something naira. So compared to when it was 1 naira to $1. So if you add that kind of stable currency, I think the issue will come down. But before they can resolve that kind of issue, they should be able to, they should provide, they should provide more jobs for people in the society.
Broadcast journalist Chief Kola Bolomakwe has expressed the need for the Nigerian Broadcasting Commission and owners of media houses to regulate the content of information getting into circulation through the media. Chief Bolomakwe gave the advice while speaking before OSBC News in Osogbo, Osun State capital. The veteran broadcaster who expressed concern at the low quality of programs being dished out on radio and television said some of them are libelous and run foul of the ethic of broadcasting. He called on producers of programs to always check on the program content before allowing their presenters on air.
As happens to us in broadcasting is that today we have more equipment, but the commitment is not there. The dedication is not there. People just come into broadcasting. They think anybody that can talk can just come and talk on air. Remember in my own days, you dare not go on air without proper scrutiny. There is no program that will not have a producer. Today, you have a producer, presenter, auditor, everything in one person. In those days, you script before you go into the studio. So your supervisors know what you are going to talk about. These days, somebody that is half drunk will go into the studio and just start talking. Like nobody is correcting anybody now. In fact, you can't even correct them because they've bought the airtime. Or people come, buy airtimes and do whatever they like. I think whatever the National Broadcasting Commission is doing, they continue to do, but they should pay more attention to this, particularly the area of this fake news.
The moral decadence being witnessed in the southwest zone of the country, or as a result of cultural neglect. The area on Okakwafo of Igongo, Chief Deepak Benru, stated this was speaking with OSBC News in Oshobo. Chief Benru explained that culture plays a vital role in human and community development. Expressing sadness that the new generation are neglecting the Yoruba culture, the area on Okakwafo of Igongo implored parents and guardians to imbibe the culture of brotherliness in their children as a way to breed communal and national growth, he speaks.
The society, as of now, the society is getting worse by the day because we don't value our culture. We don't live by our culture. So that is why things are getting upside down in the society. If we want to have a society that will not be biased in whatever we do, we have to go back to the roots. If we don't go back to our roots, we are likely to get into the dungeon, which we are gradually getting into now as we do. So only God can help us to revamp.
Of Oshobo, Sheikh Abdul Latif Abajauru has expressed the need for Muslims to always be prepared for death by worshipping their Creator alone and serve humanity. Sheikh Abajauru gave the advice at the burial of a frontline community leader and one of the panelists on the famous Majiyagbe program of OSBC television, Alhaji Wale Lasisi. Said Adeboye covered the burial and our reports.
The chief imam of Oshobo, Sheikh Musa Anima Shaun, led an array of ulamas, friends, and well-wishers of the Lasisis of Oshobo in a four-kabal janaza prayer for the foremost community leader, political elder, and famous panelist on a public court program of OSBC television, Majiyagbe Alhaji Wale Lasisi. In his sermon shortly after the janaza prayer, the Mufassir of Oshobo, Sheikh Abdul Latif Abajauru, thanked Allah for the kind of exemplary life lived by the deceased. Sheikh Abajauru explained that the essence of life is one lived in service to God and humanity, maintained that despite his affluence, connections, and fame, Alhaji Wale Lasisi practiced the tenets of Islam till he breathed it last, imploring individuals to take service to their Creator as paramount. The cleric said that heavenly gain surpasses the deceitful earthly enjoyment. Sheikh Abajauru prayed Allah to grant the deceased a place in Al-Jannah. In the meantime, Alhaji Wale Lasisi has been interred at his number 1 Wale Lasisi Street, Okeoniti, Oshobo, aged 86 years. Alhaji Wale Lasisi is survived by children and grandchildren, among whom is the Vice Chancellor, Federal University of Earth, Ilarangon, Professor Hakeem Lasisi. For OSBC News, this is Said Adeboye reporting.
May the soul of Alhaji Wale Lasisi rest in peace. Over now to our sports segment. Osho State Government has reiterated its commitment for grassroots sport development while giving its full support for Osho contingent to the 22nd National Sports Festival holding in Delta State. Let's join Omotayo Adebodu for details.
The governor of Osun State, Mr. Adeboyega Oyetola, has promised Osun athletes full financial backing to participate in the 2022 National Sport Festival holding in Delta State later this month. The governor, who was represented by the Special Advisor on Youth and Sport, Aremo Adeboyega Adelabu, said despite the dwindling state of Osun State economy, Osun athletes would not only participate in the sport festival but would also put up a good performance. He maintained that the importance of moving the torch of unity around state of the federation is to preach unity and a medium of promoting peaceful coexistence amid the security challenges confronting the country.
Osun will continue to train our sportsmen and women as well as provide for them other equipment that will enhance their performances. The government will pay more attention to school sports and other youth underage programs in order to catch our athletes young. For grassroots sport development is the basis for effective sports development.
In her remarks, the Deputy Director, Sport Festival and Parasport Development from the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports, Abuja, Chief Amaka Asiofu, lauded Osun State government for the warm reception and urged Osun athletes to make the state proud by winning medals.
We're here to really present the torch to the governor, like he said, because you have signified that you are attending the 21st National Festival in Asaba. That is why we're here.
Islamiat Yusuf, who spoke on behalf of Osun athletes, promised that they were going to Delta not to make up numbers but to win medals. The 21st edition of the National Sport Festival to be staged in Delta State will hold from the 28th of November till the 10th of December. Omotayo Adebodu, OSBC News.
Hundreds of people have been displaced in the volatile eastern region of the Democratic Republic of Congo as fighting between the army and M3 rebels move close to the scarce city of Goma. Let's now join Sarah Omidele for details of this and more from the world from.
Army spokesman Guillaume Ncheke has said clashes picked up again in North Kivu province, ending about a week of relative calm since the group launched their latest offensive. He stated that battles have broken out around the villages of Kibomba, Rigari, and Tongo. A Tongo resident who did not wish to be named said that the army had left and that people were fleeing en masse. He said that has come against the backdrop of a looming humanitarian crisis as displaced people sleep in makeshift camp in the area and complain about having little flood. Community leaders on the other side of the front line have hinted that about 60,000 people are stuck behind the front line in the territory held by the M23 rebels group, and that they want a humanitarian corridor to be created so that they can leave that area before the fighting gets closer to them. Ethiopia's Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed vowed to fulfill commitments made in a landmark peace deal with Tigrayan rebels and make the promise a reality, nearly 2 weeks after the agreement was signed. The deal aimed in South Africa called for the disarming of the Tigray People's Liberation Front and the restoration of aid to Tigray, which has been in the grip of a severe humanitarian crisis since the war broke out. The warring sides agreed to facilitate immediate humanitarian access to all in need in Tigray and neighboring regions in northern Ethiopia, following talks in Kenya's capital Nairobi to discuss the implementation of the peace deal. Meanwhile, Democratic candidate Kathy Hobbs has defeated Republican Carrie Lake in Arizona's race for governor. Ms. Lake has peddled the false claim that Donald Trump won the 2020 U.S. election. In her victory statement, Ms. Hobbs said that in the moment of division, she would work for everyone in the state. In her victory statement, Ms. Hobbs said that in the moment of division, she would work for everyone in the state. Ms. Lake appeared to suggest that the result was incorrect and that some votes for her had not been counted. Report says Republicans must win at least 218 seats to claim a majority in the House of Representatives, a prospect that has sharply narrowed. The party has currently won 215 seats, while Democrats have won 211 seats. Sarah Omidele, OSBC News.
That's the major report on OSBC TV. It was edited by Michael Adini. Babatunde Bolatito is my name. Good night.
Please listen to this public service announcement. It has come to the attention of OSBC management that some persons have encroached on the undeveloped piece of land belonging to the corporation along Ibokun Road, Okebale Oshobo. Members of the public are hereby notified that the OSBC has not commissioned anyone to allocate or dispose of the land in any form. The government of Osun State has custody of the land through acquisition and documented appropriately. Anyone caught encroaching or trespassing on the said land will be prosecuted. Anamsa, OSBC management. Ẹ̀tẹ́tí sí ìkéde pàtàkì yìí, èyí ni láti kéde sétí gbogbo ará ìlú pé àwọn ènìyàn kan ti ń wọ inú ilẹ̀ tó jẹ́ ti iléeṣẹ́ OSBC tó wà lójú ọ̀nà Ìbòkun nílùú Òṣogbo. A fẹ́ kó di mímọ̀ fún gbogbo ènìyàn pé iléeṣẹ́ OSBC kò fìgbà kan yan ẹnikẹ́ni tàbí fún ẹnikẹ́ni láṣẹ láti máa wọn ilẹ̀ iléeṣẹ́ yìí tà. Ó ṣe pàtàkì fún gbogbo ènìyàn pé ilẹ̀ tó jẹ́ ti iléeṣẹ́ OSBC yìí ní ìjọba ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun ní ìwé rẹ̀ lọ́wọ́. Àwa ń fi àkókò yìí kìlọ̀ fún àwọn tó ń dọ́wọ́ wú pé tí ọwọ́ bá tẹ̀ wọ́n, wọ́n fojú ba ilé ẹjọ́. Nítorí náà kí wọ́n so ìwé àgbéjẹ́ mọ́wọ́. Ẹ ṣé púpọ̀. Olùkéde ìgbìmọ̀ aláṣẹ iléeṣẹ́ OSBC.
My name is Femi Adebayo. This holiday season, StarTimes is taking us to a better level. You can step up your family entertainment with the StarTimes upgrade promo. You recharge 2 months on Nova Bouquet and get upgraded to Basic or Smart Bouquet. Recharge 2 months on Basic or Smart Bouquet, you get upgraded to Classic or Super Bouquet. And if you recharge 2 months on Classic or Super Bouquet, you get 10 days free on your subscription. This upgrade automatically qualifies you for a weekly draw to win 55 inches Smart TV, PS systems, home appliances, and more. These prizes are proudly sponsored by Longreach, Wayon, and Amaz. This promo is from the 15th November to 15th January 2023. Times and conditions apply. On StarTimes, every day is the best day ever. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. StarTimes. Entertain your family.
gbogbo ọmọ ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun ìpínlẹ̀ ọmọlúwàbí gbogbo Nàìjíríà pátápátá ìjẹ́ lọ OSBC ilé àwíyé lókè balẹ̀ gangan ní ìlú Òṣogbo òròkè àsálà orí ìróyòrè móròdé o sílò omi o dírẹ́bà gbé mi òdodo ọ̀rọ̀ o dírẹ́bà gbé mi kọ́bá ti gbé mi dóṣogbo o sílò omi o máa béèrè OSBC máa béèrè ilé àwíyé máa béèrè amóhùnmáwòrán o.
Mama gbọ́ lọ́rùn mi ẹnu tí mo fi ń kọrin ọba mama pàdé o ọpọlọ mi kò máa ní dàrú o ẹsẹ̀ tí mo fi rìn tí ń fi ṣiṣẹ́ sójà tí ń fi ṣiṣẹ́ orin títí lọ́jọ́ wálé lọ́lá ọ̀la wúra bí àfi tí ń bá gbé o lọ́jọ́ kan sọmọlákejì mi wípé kó bá jẹ́.
Àkàsẹ̀ ètò mi ní ìní láti fi sọrí bàbá Alhaji Alàgbà Wálé Lásìsì. Bàbá jẹ́ ìlúmọ̀ọ́ká èèyàn takuntakun ní ìlú Òṣogbo káàkiri